Welcome to the Ask Amanda Show, where we solve everyday problems for the small business owner. Get nuggets of inspiration, access to experts, and answers to those burning questions preventing you from your growth. Here's your host, Amanda Benson-Tilch.
This episode of the Ask Amanda Show is brought to you by your hometown high fire area specialist since 2014, Damian White with Farmers Insurance. Damian White has been successful in helping SCB friends and family obtain insurance while others couldn't. With Farmers Insurance and their affiliate partners, Damian has quick turnaround times. They're fully staffed with 2 locations ready to serve you. You can reach Damian by calling 661-394-2802.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Ask Amanda Show. I am very excited to have here today my 2 favorite people in the entire world.
Oh my gosh.
This is Miles Benson, my son, and this is Audrey Benson, my daughter. And I decided to have them on the Ask Amanda Show today because, well, let's be honest, I was inspired by Ed Milet, who I listen to all the time. He's the number one, podcast in the world. And he had his children on the episode. And I thought it was so personal and it was so great to hear their young adults now in the world, as mine are as well. Miles is 22. Audrey is newly 19. And it's just kind of a good idea to get their perspective on a lot of what's not really going on in the world, but in their world. And also, I thought it would be good to ask them some questions about entrepreneurship, in a young adult's eyes. And so here we are. They agreed. They said yes, that they would come on. So I couldn't be happier to have them on. Plus, I love that we're recording this moment in time for us. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. Funny to look back on.
Yeah, it'll be really funny to look back on.
Yeah.
You're right. So thank you guys for being my guest. And actually, this is the first time I've had 2 people on as guests.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's
congratulations.
good.
Here we are.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's fun. So why don't we start off by telling people what it's like for you to be my babies?
So going into a restaurant and getting recognized immediately by somebody I've never met before.
Or anywhere.
Or anywhere,
in
not
Santa
just
Crida.
restaurants.
Even in Ventura.
Yeah,
Well,
anywhere.
Yeah.
But it's always sweet, and they're always nice people. They're all good people. I think you attract those. So it's, it's definitely, I think, a unique situation for both of us to be in compared to most
Yeah, I mean,
people, 'cause
especially
you're so
involved in the community.
Yeah, because you're so involved in the community and so loved by it too. So it's not like it's not a negative thing.
Yeah.
But it's a unique situation and appreciated one.
You have to be on your toes, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
you can't be doing dumb stuff around the community because
Exactly.
mom will find out from
You
somebody.
would always tell me whenever I'd go out with my friends, be like, don't mess around because someone I know will be watching you.
Not Santa Claus, it's somebody else.
I know so
Nobody's
many,
watching.
so watch out. So funny.
That's so funny. The funny thing about that is I've never said one word to any of my friends in the community to like rat you out or something. Never. Not one time have I ever said, hey, if you see my kids around and they're messing around, tell me.
Yeah.
Never.
That's so funny.
The funny thing is a couple times I've got selfies of you with somebody else in the community.
Yeah.
They'll see you out and
I'm like, all right, let's take a picture.
take a
I'm
picture
like, I
and
know
then
who you
they
are.
text it to me.
Yeah.
Or even
It's
at
like-
my work, like some
yeah.
lady came in and was like, are you Amanda's daughter? I'm like, oh, yeah.
At work.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to tell her I saw your daughter. I was like, oh
Yep.
my god.
It's like being a reverse celebrity. There's no...
That's
funny.
so funny.
It's
Yeah.
really funny.
Well, that's what it's like in the community. But what has it been like, growing up with me as a mom?
You definitely, because like, I think it's different from both of our perspectives because you're a son and I'm the daughter. So it's...
The oldest and the youngest?
Yeah, I'm the oldest and the youngest. But like me growing up with you as a mom has shown me so much like strength and confidence and motivation because you're so motivated and you have
100%.
you have so many opportunities and so much things going on in your head and you're always going and it's something very good to look forward to and like just what's the word, be
Look up to.
inspired by.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, like
Yeah.
my tattoo.
Yeah, like your tattoo.
That's sweet.
And ours. But yeah, it's definitely a good, I feel like any good relationship between not just a mother and son, but just a parent and a kid, would have the same kind of appreciation and gratitude from learning that relationship correctly, because there's a lot of like troubled ones, and you know, I think seeing that and coming to realization that we have the relationship that we do and with each other, it's a place for gratitude for sure.
Yeah.
And it's, like she said, inspiring and definitely motivating, because it's like seeing potentials of people, but also, you know, we grew up in your household. So people that are how we're brought up, but it's by you.
Yeah.
So.
But like, you guys are being so kind and thoughtful and very well spoken right now. It's disgusting.
Oh, sure.
Just kidding. I'm very proud of you. But what, like, you know, Miles, I remember this one time that, like, the first time that I caught you lying about something stupid. Do you remember this? When we lived in the apartments. And
I remember.
Said,
I remember.
It left an impact on you, for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Remember? And I said, if you choose, I'm going to let you sit in here for a while, and you're going to think about what you want to say.
Yeah. Like if you choose, I can't remember what it was.
If you choose to lie about this to me, then that's going to change our relationship forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what happened? I came in the room.
Yeah.
And you told me the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how long ago that was. That was a long time ago.
That was a very long time ago.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's also like
9.
Yeah. And I noticed that I've thought about a lot of different times to where most of it's parenting, clearly, because of our relationship. But there's a lot of times where, like stern times, where it's a specific moment that is taught to us. And I feel like a lot of, I mean, granted, we're not parents yet, so we don't know exactly what that feels like, but we've had like a taste of, you know, differences like between you and I, or like relationships and that kind of thing, of being taught something specifically and sternly once, and then that changes our like mental chemistry and viewpoint for the rest of our lives.
Thank you for
I feel
not letting me or having me repeat it numerous times.
Yes, there's always that. But there's not always, I think that a lot of like repetitiveness is the way like you train a dog. You grow like raise toddlers. Like it's different. Obviously, like throughout ages, it's different also. But I can think of numerous times where you have like taught us something very specifically. Just like if we're trying to figure it out, and then, or like that lie example. And it's very, I don't know. There's something about it where I think you and I both get a sense of mentorship from you that's very strict, but not like in a, like.
Yeah, in a loving way.
Yeah, not like a.
You were strict.
I am strict.
Yeah, but not like a belt and hand kind of way.
You were? I still am strict.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've always had this funny thing. It's like, I'm not your, what was that called? Like your mushy mom. You know, like I love you and you know that. And I'm always wrap my arms around you.
Tell us the truth.
Yeah. But I'm telling you
how
the
it
truth.
is.
Yeah. I'm telling
100%.
you, this is what we're faced with. This is how we're going to get through it. This is why, and all the things.
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh, honey, it's going to be fine. Like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. And
but
I think
I'm
that's
not that way in general.
No. And I think that's good that you're saying true to that, because it puts us in the places that I think we need to be. And I've definitely took that same mindset for my life, and it's like helped me get a grasp of things that it's necessary for.
I feel like, well, I don't feel like this. I know this is true, and everybody that knows the two of you always says this, that you are a very old soul, Miles, and you're like Audrey, like you're very wise, like you have this, like you're like the exception to the rule for even toddlers and young, you know, teenagers and now young adults. Yeah. So I feel very honored that you guys are that way, that you came out that way, I think. But I think it also has to do with how I was with each one of you.
Yeah.
Was a little bit different.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, I think most of you, my audience, do know, I was raising these kids as a single mom for a long time. It was just the three of us. And we even had a team name, remember? Do you remember, like, all these little dumb things? Team Benson. We were trying to come up with stuff, and just the three of us. But having been a single mom, you know, and then been working and stuff, like, we really kind of just grew up together, I feel like, because I was doing a lot of growing during that time, too.
For sure, 100%.
And wouldn't you say I'm so different now?
100%, completely different person.
Yeah.
It's really...
We all are.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see that difference of... Obviously, we're leading to the subject of divorce at that point, but it's interesting to see the difference between you and Dad in that situation, too.
Yeah.
especially because he's changed also, but you are very different.
Yeah.
Like
in a good way? Or
in a good way.
Just,
I think
let's
both
just want to clear that air.
Yeah, yes. Both in the very best way possible, which is good. But it's, the growth of like taking the reins is definitely a different thing. It's like you're not, you grab the reins and you got sweaty palms, but you figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's stuck because, hi, here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
So,
We're on the other side for
right.
sure.
Yeah.
So Audrey, for you, because you were very young and weren't really sure, like I don't want to ask you like how that was for you, because that was probably going to be, a long traumatic conversation. But now that you've gone through a lot of it, and you still kind of process some things sometimes, but like kind of what advice would you give to maybe like other young adults or even parents, like that have maybe a young adult or a teenager that might be going through something? And I'm saying this now, but you were like, how old were you guys when this happened?
I was 4.
And you were...
and 8 or 9.
Yeah, I think
I was like 4, 5, 8, and 9.
Just almost...
Yeah, I think I was... Right, yeah.
So they were very little when that happened, and obviously now we're through it. But what advice would you give to maybe some other young adult?
I would just say, like, we're all going to go through something traumatic in our life. That's just what life is. We all have something that we're going to go through, and it makes us grow. And that, I feel like, for us, was very much a big moment. And for me, I didn't really witness a lot of it because I was so little. I was still a baby.
Yeah.
And you were a kid, and I was a baby. So I do remember some big pinpoints, and that also, I think, made us grow up really quick. And I would just say, like, don't use what bad has happened to you and hold it on forever. Just learn from it and accept it and grow, because it's going to happen to all of us. And sometimes it's when we're little, sometimes when it's older, but you just got to use those moments and take it and grow from it.
I think that's great advice.
It makes you who you are as a person too, but you got to like, that's not who I want to be when I'm older. Like now I know, I don't know what I look for in someone to love, and like for my kids, and you've made me such a good relationship with you and me. And I feel like that's what I want for me and my kids too.
Yeah. That's good advice.
Yeah.
That's really good advice.
Really
Don't
good
let what has happened to you be the thing that defines you.
Yeah. It makes
100%.
you the same.
Yeah.
I always grow from the bad things.
Great advice. Miles, do you have anything to add to that? Or your experience was much different because you were older in the midst of it all.
Yes. I think I was more kind of, to play what she was saying, more conscious of the situation. And I think a great deal of that had to do with age.
Yeah.
And then also, clearly, like you're saying, we both matured quickly. And I think I did a little bit faster than you, not by any comparison, but more just because I was going through a maturity stage in my life already.
Yeah, you were older,
Yeah, and I also had the role of being a bigger brother and all that kind of stuff. So it was a very different situation for me, but equally traumatic, I believe, and not in a negative way. But my one word of advice, I think, would be one phrase of advice would be more narrow. And this goes for all kinds of relationships and not just like between a parent or whatever else. But it's okay to grieve somebody who's still alive.
We were just talking about this yesterday.
You were? That's really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
And it's...
Dude, that's deep.
Yeah, I know.
Not surprised coming from him.
Well, last year I came across an interview, and it's a quote by Andrew Garfield, actor. Yeah, he's Spider-Man, my favorite one.
I love you
but
guys.
his mom passed recently, as in within like the last 2 years, something like that, sadly. But he said something that kind of struck a chord with me, and it's stuck with me since, and I think it's the most impactful thing I've ever heard. And it's changed my outlook on a lot of that situation, especially divorce, but also like relationships with friends and romantic ones and just all different kinds. He said that grief is all of the love you didn't get to express. And grieving somebody that's alive, clearly you're going to see them now and then, but it's okay to still express that grief because, both your parents are also at the same time, because it's like an end of a big term of their life and traumatic for them also. It's not just the, no, everybody's the receiving end
Yeah.
of that. But still expressing the same love that you feeling, and that's why you like are kind of bottling some of that up naturally. Expressing that the people are immediately around you until you get to see those people again, or don't even. Sometimes it's harder.
Yeah, 'cause they're not always here.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by grieving somebody who's still alive. And it's okay to do that because it's a very unnatural feeling. Like, why am I feeling this way? If it's so, obviously there's a sadness to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Especially just change of environment in life and
Also,
people
it's like
around
the
you.
acceptance of it.
Acceptance. It's all the same stages of grief, like what you're talking about. It's like you have to accept it first. But expressing that love to the people around you, I think, is also, everybody needs it more than you do. So
It's great advice. That's great that you took that away from that quote, you know?
Yeah.
That quote resonated with you because of your circumstance, you know, right now.
Yeah, for sure. And it was, that was
Yeah.
however long ago, 10 plus years ago.
Yeah.
And obviously, sits with you because that's just like something
It was
that.
like 15 years, 16,
Yeah, I
so
don't
long
know.
ago.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah,
So
it's really
crazy.
weird. But
Yeah.
that's also like here we are now. And stuff like that still resonates with you. But that just kind of put a new brother eye on the situation and changed a lot of my perspective on some of it. So
I think that's very helpful. Both of those are great pieces of advice to give people.
Yeah.
And also, I'm very proud of you that that's kind of what you've taken away from the situation. I know there's a lot more, but if we're narrowing it down, I think that that's really healthy.
Yeah.
yes.
You know?
Yeah, we were talking about that last night too.
Yeah.
What lessons have you guys learned from being in our family, being a part of our family?
I would say always put family first.
Yeah, that's a very good one.
Because we
That's
have
good.
such like a big family,
Yeah.
especially right now.
Yeah.
And we always, I think you mostly, you always are like, come on, like, let's just be part of my family. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm just going to take you in. Like, you know, like, you just learn to love people so much, especially when they're going through a lot. And you've taught, I think, both of us that to just love people and just don't be mean
Accepting.
and just accepting.
Yeah, no judgment. That's a very
no
different thing too.
judgment.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
But the judgment of, so judgment as in like approaching a situation,
Yeah.
and analytically and
And their circumstances.
carefully and cautiously, but also with a form of grace and
Empathy.
empathy, 100%. And like you said, family first. That's a very good one.
Family first. And like, I feel you've just taught me especially to always love. And you're always like, oh, you're so kind-hearted and stuff. But like, I was just raised with you and you've just taught me to always love. And I think that's the best thing in a family is to always love. And I think always put family first because they're always going to be there for you no matter what. Yourself and your family. And yeah, of course, you're going to go through a lot with them. But that's like your hard rock. That's your stone. That's your home. And you're my home. You guys are my home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just...
But also on the same turn of that is the word boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though it's your family,
Yeah.
it might not be.
Yeah.
You might have to set boundaries up around that
Oh,
because
yeah.
it might not be
Yeah.
the healthiest thing for you, you know?
Yeah,
And I've also taught you that not everybody that is actually our blood related is actually, we could bring in other people that are not blood related and become part of our family, which we have.
Equally, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
You
a
guys
strong
have been
bond
very,
with
you guys have been
everyone.
very receptive to that.
Yeah, and I think it's because of you. I don't think that's a very. I think that concept of accepting, like a family that's not blood, is a very, open concept, and also preached a lot in a lot of like just media now today, like all movies and whatever else. But experience that firsthand is definitely something that's valuable, and I think more people need to, especially in the world that we live in now.
Miles, what other life lesson have you learned about just being in our family, and not necessarily from me,
Yeah.
because our family is pretty big, like Audrey
big.
said.
Yeah. I feel like we've touched a lot on gratitude. I was going
Yeah.
to say that again, but that's very. I think that's the most valuable thing to learn in life. That's something that you should reach, is a different kinds of that.
Especially for the things that we've been through. Like, we didn't have a lot. We had a great house and a family and a life when I was married to your dad, and then all of that went away. We didn't have a lot at all, and we struggled and went through some hard times but we did that together.
Yeah.
And so I think that taught us, and then everything that I have built for us since then, it's like taught you to be like, I'm grateful for it,
Yeah,
I think that
100%.
is, so I think you're right to say gratitude.
Yeah, I think gratitude, but also the, it's along the same lines. There's like appreciation, because there's just be here now, like always being present. And I feel like a lot of, I can't remember that phrase right now. After you go through something or experience a moment, whatever it is, negative, positive, you think of it differently, replay it in your head, whatever it may be. But I think accepting it at the same terms of what it is then you can appreciate it more and live it more richly and thoroughly in that moment. And going through so many different situations in the family, in life and that kind of stuff, I think I've learned to live it more richly because of that.
Yeah.
So that appreciation is like, if you actively carry it with you, other than just like, oh yeah, that was nice, I appreciate that, and I'm grateful for it. It's like, beating a dead horse. There's no, you have to see what it is fully and live by it actively.
Yeah.
That's
I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
Very well spoken,
valuable.
both of you.
Yeah.
Also, I think like being the youngest, it gives me so many people to look up to, especially like having Nana and Papa in the house now.
Yeah.
Like Nana has become such a good role model for me because I spend a lot of time with her now.
Yeah.
And it's just so good to have. And like you growing up, being the bigger brother, I always looked up to you. And you, of course, my mom looked up to you. And now I have so much more people to like, and you and Caitlin's relationship I look up to. Like it's just so much to...
Yeah.
What's the word?
Absorb.
Absorb,
and also appreciate.
Appreciate, yeah.
Yeah. For
That's
sure.
good, Audrey. It's good that you guys have the approach that you do about changes in life and things like that. And I think that's very admirable. And I think that that's something that if you could pass that on to other people, I think that's helpful.
I think that's the true lesson and point of that. That's, I think, what your goal would be.
Yeah,
Either
I think so,
consciously
too.
or subconsciously, like that's what you've passed. And I think that clearly it's stuck with both of us.
So now it's your job to pass it on to others as well, like what Audrey said.
Either that being kids or not.
Yeah.
So,
well, let's talk about aspirations.
okay. I get more back into what this podcast is actually for.
No, it's good to like kind of tell people a little bit about our history and our family and kind of like what shaped us. Like like all of what you said has also kind of led me here today, and it's great to see
the foundations of a person.
Yeah, and it's great to see what my family is doing with all that too. You know,
for sure.
But Audrey, what dreams do you have, and maybe what are you doing to help you get there, help you achieve those dreams?
Yeah, I think for a while I struggled with that. Well, I'm also a young adult. I feel like we all do growing up, because it's like you get into high school, you're like, oh, what do you want to do with your life? You know, and it's so hard. There's so much.
You're like 14 or 15.
Yeah,
how are you supposed to know?
You're a kid still. There's so much pressures and so much things you could choose from, and it's like, well, pick your whole life. When you're 14, it's like, what? So I think now that I'm 19, I finally kind of pinpointed it, because ever since I was little, I've always wanted to bake. I just love to bake. Me and my cousin Miranda we used to live together, and we would have this play thing. We would call it kitchen mittens. And
so cute.
And I don't know, it always stuck with me, and I'm like, it just reminded me of that. I was like, yeah, I've always wanted to do that. I was always like pretending to bake and have my own little kitchen and stuff. I loved it. And so now I'm really sticking with that, and I'm baking a lot, and I just...
Thank God.
Yeah.
I know.
And
you literally bake all of Miles'
I know.
favorite things.
So good.
All the birthdays I bake.
Yeah.
I'm the baker. So I don't know, I'm going to go to college for that. And I'm working at a coffee shop right now, but then eventually I'll work at a little bakery. But yeah, that's my dream and my goal and my aspiration. I just want to be a little baker.
Yeah. I think you'd be the cutest.
Yep, and the best.
Yeah.
Definitely good, but we can't right now.
No, And Miles, what? Well, wait. He says we can't right now because 4 of us in the household are currently doing 75 hard. If you don't know what that is, you should look it up. Andy Frisella, 75 hard. Look it up. It's a big old challenge.
It's definitely hard, but it's hard but worth it.
My husband and his girlfriend in the house, we're all doing it, so it's fun. So that's why he said we can't have any baking right now.
Sadly.
Yeah. So Miles, what are your what do you aspire to be?
Yeah, it's definitely changed a lot throughout my life, and like Audrey said, it's a lot of like when you're younger, a lot of pressures for that. So I feel like picking that while it's hot is hard.
Yeah,
but
for sure, it's so dumb. We put these pressures on.
Yeah,
I'm glad I never did that to you guys.
Yeah, and that's I've told you before, but I'm very thankful for that because that is a whole very narrow-minded, unhealthy set of forcing kids to go to college without a real goal.
Or even like being 18 is so young. To like pick your whole life. I don't know. It's just crazy.
Anyway, I'm not to get like metaphysical about it, but like I feel like I found my actual passions to drive my motivations in times to where I'm like I have to myself, and I find appreciation for things that I like, and you don't know that until you try some. I would.
Ooh. That's something I always say to you guys.
I know.
You don't know until you try. So don't. Good job.
See?
Very proud. It's sticking.
We're keeping track. It's sticking. My memory is awful.
I've just told Miles so many times that when job opportunities or whatever would come up, like, just try it. You don't know. Like, so you went to COC for like 2 semesters and like it wasn't for him. Okay, fine. Like, let's try something else. So
that was, I think that was, what's the word? I think you overestimated how long I was there, but yes.
At least you tried it.
Yeah,
it was a semester.
And it was a semester,
okay.
and then it was, and the semester ended with me finishing an online English course and a film class, which was
at least you did it.
Not actual schooling. Yeah,
but you tried.
I did something. That was it.
And with you though, you like made me do a sorry.
Yeah.
No, for you made me go to the gym to work.
Yeah,
it's her other.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. Yeah, what it's like to work with mom, but let's finish your goals here.
So I would say, not like, I'm going to one day start hopefully a watch company. Start with leather bands first, and possibly either write a book or film. I would like to one day in my life. I don't know when that will be, if I'm 70 or 25.
You had a lot of time ahead of you.
But something that I could appreciate now and do then. So
Miles is very meticulous, and he's
very picky.
Very picky, but he's got a lot of ADD in him. Everything is super clean with his whole life, which is actually the opposite of his sister sitting next to him.
What are you talking about? My room is very clean nowadays.
I just mean that you're very casual about how you live your life in those terms, and Miles is very structured.
That's fair.
That's much more
That's fair.
appropriate way to put it. Yes, listen, you and I are on the same page. But Miles is very good at tinkering, and so like he just learned to like build watches and stuff like all on his own. It's pretty awesome. So I love that about that you would do that, and I will help you get to that, whatever that is. I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out one day. So let's talk about that. Both of you have worked with me.
Yes.
Actually, worked for me and worked with me.
Both ways.
So Miles was obviously the first one to start pre-COVID. You came on board to work with me as my assistant when I'm working down in Burbank.
Burbank, the apartment
apartment complex.
Building,
What was that like for you?
I mean, we've always had a good relationship. Like, so it wasn't like an eye-rolling event. So, like, I didn't mind it, and I was, like, looking forward to it, and also I love Tom. So, and that's where we were both working for at that point, technically. So it was definitely something I love to do. And I only left because it made sense to, and also like the end of the COVID, like that was was it's going down for like 2 hours a week, but that's also all we were able to do. So we did that until it made sense. But we had fun. I liked it a lot. There was a lot of things I learned in there that it took to my next 2 jobs.
I feel like you learned a lot to how to deal with people.
Yes, 100%.
And you saw me how I dealt with people, which is very different, very unique. I feel like that was really a good experience for you.
Yes, and you have a very different approach with people. You're a people person. I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't mind them, but I'm not fond of them. So,
like they're dogs.
Yeah, same thing. I like dogs, but from a distance. So, I'm saying a lot, but we'd carpool down together from Santa Clarita to Burbank, so a good 20-minute drive every morning. Yeah, lots of laughs, and I think it was a good.
I turned a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, podcasts do a lot of like good learning appreciations of those kinds of things, but also I got to spend a lot more time with you. And I think I enjoy that the most. but working with you is fun because it's always like, your personality in a workplace is pretty good. To put gently.
Everybody should have that experience, is what you're
saying. Yeah, definitely a experience.
We should bring all of my employees in here one by one.
Yeah, and they'd all have an underlying,
That's funny.
Yeah, I learned a lot too because it was also one of my more mature jobs, my first really mature job. Yeah. And then it took me into a job that I had for 2 years after that. That had a lot of the ends of things that I did not enjoy doing at that job, and with you in Burbank. But also it set me up for that because I was able to handle it and I knew what I was doing and I was tossed in the deep end and I stayed that way for the whole 2 years. Yeah. And I was self-management the whole time. Yeah. And having a remodel you, but also in that industry was very valuable.
Yeah, I was so proud of you that you took that on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then also both of those things set me up for the job I'm in now, which I'm hoping to have for many, many years.
Yeah.
So
very proud of you for saying yes to things like that.
Thank you. Yeah, and both of those I think were very not hesitant, but decisions.
We had a lot of conversations about these job transitions because, kids are scared and they don't know, and like they look to us, adults who have been in the workforce for years for advice. And if you're not giving them proper advice, sound advice, leave your personal thoughts and feelings out of it and really try to set them up for success, I think you're doing these kids a disservice. And so I think part of my relationship with both of you, and Audrey, we'll let you answer in a second, but is to sort of be a mentor. And that's a fine line, being somebody's parent and being their mentor. But, if these were just young adults coming to me and asking me these same questions, that's sometimes how I would view answering you guys or conversing with you, is if they weren't my kids, I would say the same thing to these young adults. And I think that more parents need to have that viewpoint and not just put what they think and feel onto the kids. There's no room for you guys to then think and feel.
That's the big
own.
Difference. Yeah, the kind of mentorship is important, but the kind of mentorship, if you're holding hands, that's very different because typically if you're holding their hand, you're just gonna naturally guide them to where you were, what you did, your experiences, and they're just kind of take that for face value and run with it. Yeah, it's not productive for anybody and doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, the other side of that though too, and Tom has said this to me. And about that, you have to be speaking to somebody that is willing to be mentored.
Yeah.
And so you guys, I've kind of set you guys up that way. Like, hey, I'm going to talk to you about this and this, and I want you to listen and, take what you can take from it and apply it to your life. And so there's kind of a fine line there. But Audrey worked with me at the gym. You were one of my employees that I manage at Burbank Fitness Club.
Front desk girl. Yeah.
For her first job. Well, she was a babysitter nanny before, which I know you really were good at and loved. But this was like her first, job, especially coming out of COVID and finishing up her high school, basically in a homeschool program, and not really having a lot of public interactions, right?
Yeah, no.
What did you think about that job, and what did you think about working for me? And tell me about working in that environment.
It was very much needed because, again, I was homeschooled, and I only hung out with one person for literally 3 years, so it was very much needed for me, and I just needed to meet new friends and new people and actually communicate because I just didn't really talk to anyone, so I needed it. I think mentally and just physically. I just needed to go do something.
Yes.
And you were like, Audrey, come on. You're coming. You were like, let's go. You're coming to work with me.
You didn't even have a choice.
And I was like, all right. I was like, I need it. Let's just go.
Yeah.
And same with Miles. It very much got me bonded with you more. I talked to you more. I got to spend all day with you.
Yeah.
4 times a week, 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I loved it. I just made so many good friends, and it taught me a lot about communication with people and customer service, and I loved that job. I don't know, it was one of the best times of my life. It helped me grow up really quick.
Yeah.
It taught me more about people and myself, and I don't know, I loved it. It was a very great opportunity for me, and you gave it to me.
Yeah.
So
I'm very lucky. Grateful. I'm very fortunate, I should say, that I have aligned myself, with these certain circumstances to be able to provide this for you guys.
Yeah, able
but
to do
I'm
that.
also very thankful that both of you said yes to the
Yeah.
the two different types of jobs that I had available at the time.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I feel like I should say that every job I've had, 4 or something like that now, and I've stayed at every one for at least about a year.
Yeah.
Or over a year, and they were all related to you.
Oh yeah.
They, like,
That's so
and,
true.
So
yeah, I
true.
knew everybody
I forgot.
before. Like, I knew most of my employers before I was their employee. Except for now, that was a little bit more removed, one step, but it was still because of you.
Yeah,
So,
I put it out there that
Yeah.
you were looking for a job. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and a lot of that I think can fall down to, privilege, but also like because you put
connections.
yourself there. Yeah,
Yeah,
but, like
connections.
you put yourself in that spot to be able to do that for us. So, yeah,
Very grateful.
Yeah,
100%.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
Even Audrey, the job you have right now, I literally went on and applied for.
Oh my gosh. I tell all my friends at work, all my coworkers, and they're like, "Oh, how did you get this job?" I'm like, "My mom literally I don't know. My mom literally just gave them the paper." And she was like, "Hey, Audrey, you got the interview." And I was like, "For what?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your dream job. Here you
Yeah.
go.
So Audrey's
So
had this
funny.
dream job of working at this certain local coffee shop here called Hanu Coffee.
It's just so cute.
Ever since she was probably 12 or 13, we would drive by. She's like, "Oh, I'm going to work there one day." Just as cute as pie. And so she kind of was outgrowing, in a way, the position I had for her at the gym. And I needed to kind of get somebody in there a little bit that had more availability. So anyways, I just went on to Hanu's website and I filled out the application for her. And
Without
all of a
me
sudden,
knowing.
they called her and she got an interview. And then it was up to her to get the job. But, we have to be...
Yeah, like you
we're-
still did
so
you put in the
funny.
work still.
Yeah,
like
I
you put in the
really
interview
did.
process.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
So let's switch gears a little bit to entrepreneurship, since we're kind of like naturally flowing through the work thing. So,
Yeah.
Miles, what do you think? No, let's do this one to Audrey. Audrey, what do you think entrepreneurship is?
I think it's I only know from you. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm not really...
You're like, can you put in a sentence, please?
Can you spell it out? No, I don't know. I think it's kind of just taking your dream and putting it into real life. And with you did this. And that's kind of you did Ask Amanda. And that I would say is entrepreneurship, because you took your dream and made it into reality. I don't know. I think that's kind of what it is for me.
You're the sweetest. I love your
That's
little
just how I view it.
angelic
I don't
life
know. For me,
mindset. Isn't it cute?
Yeah.
yeah, I
Miles?
don't know.
I
Just,
hope you never change that.
Yeah.
Yes, that is a form of it. Now let's hear what your brother has to say.
okay. I did my best. You asked
No,
me,
it's
and
cute.
I tried.
You're good.
Yeah,
You're good.
yeah. I think that was good because that's naturally, I think, what it becomes. But you realistically are somebody's grindstone, and you help not only give them for the consultation part of the entrepreneur.
Oh, you're talking about Ask Amanda.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Yeah.
Ask Amanda, but I'm leading to the entrepreneurship of it. You're somebody's grindstone, but also you're providing the tools for them to hone in their own entrepreneurial ideas and details.
Yeah.
So yours is a unique situation because you are the entrepreneur of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Specifically saying what that would be is hard because for everybody I think is a little bit different because a lot of it's from kind of the first probably half of this podcast of saying, it's a personal foundation thing.
Yeah.
And you're building upon your dreams and putting it into reality, like you were saying. But also taking it by the reins and controlling it because you are the person that's leading it. And it's also, it's your baby from the ground up.
You basically are owning your own business
Yeah.
and running it and figuring it out.
Yeah, for literal definition.
Yeah,
But
basically.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that either one of you would be an entrepreneur someday? Owning
yeah.
your own business?
Yeah, I've talked about this. I think so. I don't know. My main goal in life is I just want to be have a family and be a mom. I just really want to. I don't know. That's just my dream.
And bake cookies
And I just
want to
bake cookies and have a little. Okay,
goats.
whatever. That's what I want, and I will get that. But
Yes.
yeah, my true dream would to be own a bakery. I've always wanted to do that.
Like a little cafe
Just
style
a
bakery?
little. I don't know. I just want little cupcakes and cookies and
Yeah.
all the goodies. But no, I think just a bakery, not
Okay.
big old cafe.
No, but I mean, like a place where you sell those things out to other places where they sell them.
No. I want to have like my own little shop.
Yes, that's what I can picture you doing.
Definitely,
as well.
like
Yeah.
And Miles, do you think that you would ever own your own business someday?
I know so, because I'm determined and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Or make myself do it.
Would that be around the watches?
Probably something like that. I mean, I'd hope so. I'd like to. I got to figure that out first. I haven't played with it enough yet.
Well, lucky for you, know somebody who can help figure it all out.
Hello. Yeah. So I'd say yes, plainly.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Those are good things to aspire to,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Well, we need more entrepreneurs in the world, so I think for sure,
Agreed.
you know, it's a good goals to have. Miles, you just sort of touched on it, but what is it that you think I do for Ask Amanda? Like forget the podcast side of it, because that's just a fun thing that I do. But for clients, like when I have a client over that you've met, or
I mean, just to reiterate again, you were their Grindstone, and they're coming to you for that. So you're sharp. Not only are you, if people don't know what a Grindstone is, literally, you are sharpening the tools that you have. I mean, most of it's medieval, so it's like swords or whatever. But you are not only their Grindstone, so you're honing their tools, but you're also providing the tools to them.
Yeah.
So you're helping guide them in the ways that they need most, or that they may need to like rewrite and go about a different way. You're very well knowledge and brushed up on a lot of your, learnings by yourself, and I think that's very admirable, but also very difficult. So if you're able to, which here clearly you are, proceed with that, then it's a very strong standpoint, and being that person that people come to is a hard position to be in, but you're also a very, you do it excellently by, you don't just like, copy paste the same tools to everybody.
No.
Because there's no one word fix.
Yeah.
But specifically for different people, I mean, I just keep repeating it, the same thing, just Grindstone. That's
Audrey,
what
do you think it is that I do? Because you've seen me with some clients, and you've gone with me a couple times.
Yeah. I think what I've heard from you when you talk to your clients, you become very wise and okay, how can I help you?
You're not normally.
No, but you just become very I don't know the word is very just okay, to it. Tell me your issues and let's fix it. Tell me and I'll write it down in here. Let's work on it.
Yeah.
And you're just very go get it with it. I don't know how to explain it.
It is. You actually did nail that. As soon as you said you just become very wise,
Yeah.
even though that was a joke. But
you do.
It's
You really okay. This is your issue. Okay, we're gonna fix it right now.
Yeah,
and this
immediately
is what you need to work
dial it to
on.
11.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they walk out go get it and happy.
Yeah, motivated.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
You're very
True.
motivated for people. I don't know. You just show them oh yeah, I
Right.
can do it.
Yeah.
This is what I need to do, and that's
I'm a
it.
cheerleader in that
Yeah.
aspect too, but I'm also not a bullshitter, so
Yes.
I tell them like it is.
Yes.
So this would be fun if you could give yourself some advice, to yourself 5 years ago. Go back 5 years in your life, where you were. Think about where you were. What advice would you give yourself
15?
now?
You'd be 15.
Oh man.
I would be. I can do math. 16.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not 21. Damn, what the hell? No,
Wait,
I'd
what?
be. Yeah,
Wait, is that
18.
right?
18 and 19.
18,
Yeah.
18.
depending.
So what advice would you give yourself back then, Audrey? What would you say to yourself back then?
man.
Well, first of all, those are both very important.
You were my age.
Yeah, but those are very important years in
Yeah.
both of our lives.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that was I feel like ours is very different.
yeah, for you,
mine-
what would the advice be that you would give yourself?
When I was 15, that was 14, 15, 16. Whatever. My teenage years were very much a struggle for me.
Yes.
And I'm getting out of that now. But back then, there was so much going on for me. So much struggle. And
you mean with depression? You mean with being bullied at school? And I mean this is real stuff.
I was struggling.
Yeah.
Depression, anxiety, everything.
Your body's changing.
Yeah,
Yes.
everything to think of, I was going through.
Yes.
When I was 15, and I also don't think most people, I don't know, just grow from that. Sometimes they're just so stuck in it. And I got out of that.
You sure did.
And I wish back then I saw myself now and was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I am such a different person. I think you guys both know. Like,
I'm so
I
proud
even
of you.
dress
It's
different.
so different.
Like, wear my makeup different. I'm just so different. My hair's different color.
Yeah. I think you are different because of what you went through.
100%.
Yeah.
And it made me grow up really quick. I think just going through all that.
So what piece of advice would you say to yourself?
I think
like,
just
hang on, or it's going to get better, or...
Yeah, I just wish I saw myself now and just would have been like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like, you got out of it.
Yeah.
And in the moment, this is like so sad. But
Yeah.
like, sometimes, like, I didn't think I was gonna.
I know.
And I really thought I just was never going to get out of this place in my head. Yeah. And now I'm the happiest I've ever been. And of course, I still got struggles, but like, I know how to work on it.
Yeah.
And I just wish I knew I had those tools back then.
Yeah.
And I wish I knew how strong I was mentally, because I really thought I didn't have anything.
Yeah, so that's what you would tell yourself.
Yeah, just
you
be
are
like,
strong,
stick
you
through
will
it.
get through it. It is going to be
And
okay.
there is a rainbow on the other side.
Yes.
Like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're going to get through it.
That's good
Yeah.
advice. And Miles, for you?
First of all, I'm proud of you. Okay, that's a big
Thanks.
difference. That's a big deal.
Stop.
These two are very close. They have a very close relationship, which I'm very lucky that they are that way. I love you.
I love you. So, I don't know. I feel like whenever I'm presenting questions like that, I just want to take advantage as much as I can. It's like,
Well, what would you say to yourself back then?
like I'd want to like be like, oh, this is what's going to happen the next couple months,
No,
step by
not a
step.
fortune
You got to get through it. I know.
You go back in
I know.
time.
Like,
Do
yeah,
that.
Marty McFly
Just
with
like
a
if you could give
almanac.
if somebody sent you down a little like piece of
Yeah,
paper and
just
it had a piece of advice
like
on it.
motivational. Yeah.
Yeah, what would it say?
I think that, especially that time in my life, I just started my first job at that point 5 years ago. Big learning experience for me, but also I think about it a lot still. I've made a lot of good friends then. Had a lot of my favorite memories were also then. Between then and now, I learned what I said earlier was be here now. Something my dad says a lot, and I think saying that then would kind of put more weight on the situations that would be more valuable to me, because I just would like to milk every situation, emotional or not, for the value that I can. So be here now is definitely a big one.
I think I'm going to pause you, interrupt you on that, because I think that is so huge for you, because you had a moment in time, again, 15, 16, when all these kids are going through all these hormonal changes, which I think we as parents should be paying a lot more attention to. That could be another topic. But for you then, like, you just kept saying, what's the point of all this? Like, what's the point? And for now, you to say, you've had so much growth, and for you to say to be here now, dude, that is remarkable change for you, and I really am proud of you.
Thank you.
And I think that you live by it. You don't just say it. I think that's such a big growth moment for you, and I love that that would have been the piece of advice you would have given yourself.
Yeah, because I think that's what I was looking for. Same thing. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like what majority of kids sadly now go through is like a depression state.
Yeah.
And anxiety that comes with it, whatever it may be. But the depression is a hard thing to beat because there's no answers to it.
You don't know why.
No, and there's no, nothing easy about it. And no matter how much like we come to you or people around us, like there's no answer that actually solves your problems.
Yeah.
And my biggest defeat in that was, I don't want to put people in like a depressive spiral by listening to this, is like, what's the point of everything? Like even if you're religious or not, or whatever the case may be, like there's no actual purposes to a lot of stuff that you do. But it's also a lot of...
Well, that's what you felt like in that time.
Yeah, that's what you felt like in that time, but it's
Yeah.
also... It's the...
You just feel lost.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the realism that hits, and that realism sticks with you, and that is something that I could never like solve or defeat in my head. That there's not really purposes, but you have to. I think what I didn't realize was that you have to put those purposes onto the situations that you're in.
Yeah.
And
Find purpose in them.
yeah, and putting value on that is just like carrying them with you.
Yeah,
and so being
focusing
here
on
now is the way to do that. And I think if I had that kind of appreciation for those times in my life, then I could, carry them with me better, and not not to elongate the, head spaces that we're in, but it's just be here now. That was it.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I love both of those advices
Yeah.
for you. I think that's so good.
Yeah.
It's a really good one. Well, as we wrap this up here, which I love every moment of this, and I can't wait to listen to this in 10, 15 years. It'd
Me
be
too.
funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Audrey, can't wait to see how you wear your makeup and dress in 15 years.
Yeah, or my hair color.
Yeah, it's so
Yep.
different. I love you. What questions do you have for Mom? This is the Ask Amanda show.
I know we haven't asked Amanda anything. This is an
it's
Ask
great.
Amanda's Kids show.
I would say, like, being a mom, and because we all had different perspectives in our household. Like, what was it like raising 2 kids? And I feel like we talked about this, but not, like, really. And just, like, raising 2 kids and trying to get your own aspirations and dreams, but also trying to inspire us. Like, what was that like?
Same time. That's a good
I
question.
actually raised 3 kids.
3 kids.
Yeah, well,
3 kids.
It's still
yeah,
going.
True.
Yeah.
So 4.
True.
Yeah.
And like, how did you get your motivation?
So these are the
and all
2
that?
children that I birthed, right? But my niece Samantha, who's actually their dad's sister's daughter, she lived with us from the ages of like
forever.
13 to 16, I think.
16, and then later
and then
again.
she came back after I've got remarried. She came back to our house as well. But we have launched her. She's living on her own, and she's doing really well with her life. But I did raise her. I had a really big part in raising her.
Yeah.
And I love her today. So raising kids and trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I think you guys gave me purpose because before you know, I owned a flower shop. I was very entrepreneurial from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I got married while I was in that flower shop. And then I got pregnant with Miles. And then I closed the flower shop. I sold it off and I closed it. Huh?
I didn't close it. You chose to close it?
Yeah, I chose to close it.
Yeah, okay, good.
Absolutely. So I could be a stay-at-home mom. I mean, there was some circumstances around it. It wasn't so I could be a stay-at-home mom, but that's what I ended up doing. And then I got into real estate. So I'm all over the place with like my, you know, I think we counted how many jobs I've had in my life, and it was like 22 or 7 or
more
something.
than that.
I think you said 22, and then you
Yeah.
came back home from dinner with James, and then you were like, wait, 25.
Yeah, I
You
think
thought
it's
of like 3 other
25.
ones? Yeah.
Might be 27. So, I don't know, Audrey. That's a good question. I think you two were always my top priority because I felt like that's the hardest job in the world. I still feel that way, and I chose, you know, your dad and I chose to have you, and so then that becomes a job that we've committed to, you know, which I am proud to say that I've stuck to my commitments of really being by your side no matter what. And it was just going to be the 3 of us all the time. I'm very happy and fortunate to have met James, re-met James and been married and that's going well. But I think, I don't know. I mean, it's just like my goals and aspirations have changed.
Yeah.
I think for me, I have the thing where I just say yes to things that sound good and like opportunities that would benefit us. And that's what I've done, you know?
Yeah.
But I've loved being your mom. It's been so fun. I'm not done.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, you're like, that was fun.
Yeah, see you guys.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Miles, what question would you have for me?
Well, you asked me this, but jokingly, a couple years ago, was what do you want to be when you grow up?
Oh, yeah.
And I took John Lennon's route and said happy.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're not done,
No.
and you won't be. I think you're...
I think you won't be. So
Yeah,
you're
what Papa says,
gone.
we're going to lose you on the carpet before you die. You're going to just keep shrinking. She's going to outlive all of us.
I just turned 50,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm at my halfway point, is what I tell them.
That's what I mean. Is like, is there something else that you're looking to get done? I mean, it seems like that you go for it as it comes, and not all the time you understand what's going to land in your lap, but you take it with a grain of salt and for what it is, and
Yeah.
run with it if
Yeah.
it's worth it.
Yeah.
But is there something else that you want to accomplish?
So there's one dream that I do have that I've never really thought about fulfilling, and I don't know if I will or not. But I would love to host a conference.
A conference?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have this whole vision in my head about I have the whole thing. I can see it in big lights, the word of the conference.
Okay.
And I have these speakers in mind that I feel like would just benefit a certain
Okay.
group of people.
Is this like a football conference, or is this
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a business one? What's the
No.
conference?
It's around probably entrepreneurship and self-development, you
That's
know?
great. Oh, like a committee.
Yeah.
Like a...
no, like in that world of like self-improvement or whatever.
Okay.
Personal development and self-improvement, which I call
That's great. Yeah.
self-development, which is weird. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah, yeah.
that would be what I would like to do. That's on my bucket list.
That's
if I
great.
could do that and pull it off, I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be awesome. And then I could say I've done it to myself.
Yeah.
I don't care about anybody else, you
Right.
know. I'm impressing or improving anybody. But that'd be one thing I would like to do. I would like to host that conference. But
That'd be fun.
I don't know. I think in the meantime, I just love the opportunities that I have right now. And I'm really focused on this, especially this year, focused on, you know, if it doesn't benefit My family, my health, or my bank account, I say no.
Yeah.
And that has been working
That's pretty
all
great.
year, and you guys are seeing that.
Yeah, and I think that's something that everybody should take, no matter what point in your life that you're in.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in the best health I've ever been. My bank account is the healthiest it's ever been.
Right.
And I think our family is doing really well.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's working. The focus that I've shifted, it's working.
Yeah,
So.
it's always, we're not just Sisyphus. Like, we're constantly...
It's a big word.
Yeah. Do you know who Sisyphus is?
Oh, is that a person?
Yeah.
Oh, I love you guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah,
Well,
anyways.
Good.
That was fun.
Was it fun? Was it?
That
good
was
to
really
be on
fun.
there?
We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Do you have a topic you'd love to hear about? Or is there something you want to ask Amanda? Make sure to comment below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when we post new episodes.